So back again, got them all packed away and, well, put back on display anyway. So this is my next one that I've got. Some of you might sort of recognise it if I lift this body shell off. This is in fact a Traxxas Rustler 2-wheel drive, and it's a VXL Rustler, so brushless with one of these motors. Again, I bought this second hand. It might sound like I am a right tight-fisted person who's very tight and stingy about money. It isn't. It's just I've recently discovered that the internet, especially stuff like Facebook and the marketplace and the different remote control groups, there are a lot of people who own lots of great stuff who either don't need it or were given it as a present and they're not interested in it. And instead of going out to the shop and buying it for real money, like expensive, I can pick up a bargain for quite cheap, or relatively cheap. I'm not spending thousands of pounds. And if any little parts don't work on a lot of these machines, because they are part of the hobby, it's quite easy to buy the parts if it's a suspension spring or steering servo. Now, not realising how great these engines are, motors are, I blew the rear tyre on one. So one of the groups suggested I get one of these, which I have done. The reason I don't have the shell, although I still have it, I don't really use it unless I'm outside bashing, is because, as I said earlier, I'm a lover of the Volkswagen Beetle. The original Volkswagen Beetle. And I found this little thing, I say little, this shell. I'm not quite sure what it belongs to. I thought it was like a Bugster or something, but it's not. And it was completely black all over when I got it. So when I was practicing the spraying on the other car, I thought I'll do the same for this. And yes, it's going to be a Volkswagen Beetle Herbie style. I tried it on the Slash, it didn't fit. I thought I've got to see what else it fits on. And one by one, as I started buying other cars, I thought, well, let's see if it fits. Tried it on the drift machine, didn't fit. I got this. And once I tried it on this, hallelujah, it fits brilliantly. Now you will notice it's touching the tyres. I will need to adjust the body post for this, and there's a guy, well, a couple of guys, but there's one particular guy who gave me some great advice. I've got some replacement posts for this. I'm going to be using something called a Stampede, Traxxas Stampede body post to rise this up. As you can see, I've already tried to have a go and I butchered it a bit. But anyway, the idea is to lift it, put the new body posts on, and then hopefully this will sit on top of it, you know, because I don't really want to chop the body up even more if I can avoid it. I've used this thing a couple of times and it flies. It really does fly. My only concern is the front end always goes up like that, and I don't really fancy a wheelie bar. So I might take this motor out and put that in my Slash and put what's in there in this one instead. Because that's one of those kind of Ghoul RC slightly cheaper motors. Just what I want. It's brilliant. But yeah, anyway, this is a great little car and fantastic because it fits it perfectly. Let's move that outside. And lastly, we have my love of all things air. So I've always wanted to get into air RC, and when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, remote control helicopters would cost an arm and a leg. You never really saw them at kiddie level, as it were, you know. And you needed to go to loads of places. So thanks to the influx of drones and it getting quite cheap and everyone's using them now, I found this little beauty. It's perfect outside if there is literally zero breeze. The slightest little puff and this thing flies off. Brilliant for indoors, but very noisy because of the brushless motors. It's got a camera, but that camera is useless. It's something like if you can imagine taking videos on a first generation mobile phone. It really is. Don't buy this thinking you're going to shoot in 4D or anything, because it's not designed for that. And it is, I mean, I paid about 40-50 quid, which is expensive for someone like me, considering I've got most of my stuff quite cheap. But for what it is, it's brilliant, and I have used it inside, and it is good. I'm not going to lie, it is good. It's a good kind of starter sort of thing. But whilst I was using that, thanks to my skills of having a look online, I found this little drone. Now this is way better than the white one. This, I've actually flown this outside and it's so easy to use, it's so easy to set up. I haven't used the camera function yet, but it's brilliant. It's so, obviously not huge winds, but slightly, this can go out in weather whereas this thing can't. So a slight gust of wind and this thing will fly off into a bush. This thing for a slight breeze is still fine, and it's so easy to control and so easy to set up. And as you can see, if I fold this down, it's quite pocket size, easy to travel. The brand, don't ask me, it's going to be one of those cheap and cheerful Chinese kind of brands, because when I bought it, the guy gave it to me and it did have instruction manuals, but nowhere could I find a brand for it. It had like drone, so yeah, this is clearly not a drone, although they label it. This is a quadcopter. Quad meaning 4, copter. Drones, what I classify drones are those things that you see flying miles in, well, hundreds of meters into the air with proper gimbals for filming and all that kind of stuff. You know, they cost thousands of pounds, well, at least £500–600 upwards. This is just not a drone in my opinion, neither is this. They're quadcopters. They're both really good, and they're my first foray into proper flight RC. And then I purchased this, a little remote control, again, a Chinese kind of knockoff of something that is probably quite familiar. But again, this is brilliant. Really easy to set up, really good flying, but as you can see, it's got the doubling, and this is to make it easy to fly. So I'm not really getting the real experience of flight. It should really just have one set. But I guess in time, once I'm ready and once I've used this a bit, I'll get rid of this and then move up. But for me, for what I want, this is perfect. The only thing I would note, if anyone is buying anything like this, is before you buy it, see how easy it is to get the replacement batteries, because I swear, some of these use batteries that I cannot find on the internet. It's alright saying LiPo RC battery, but it's a mission. Yes, batteries. Make sure you find, because some of these, they take those little LiPo batteries, but the difference is you might not get the right milliampage or voltage. So for example, I've got a battery for this, and it is roughly the same size as the battery for this, but the milliamps, this takes like 350 or something, and it's tiny, whereas this takes 1000. So when you look at the actual LiPo, it's like 3 cells together, although it's the same size as about this. And that's proving very difficult, not because of the actual milliampage, but also because of the type of connection it needs. Not all, like with LiPo batteries in general, and you know, nickel metal hydride batteries, not all the connections are the same. So you've got to check before you buy these. How easy? Getting the blades is easy. These things are, you know, 10 a penny. But it's getting the actual batteries, the electronics, that is the mission. So yeah, but apart from that, I'm loving getting into the air RC side. In fact, when I get this, I'm out and about with this one, and even this one, people are like, oh, is this the one that brought Heathrow Airport to a standstill a few months back? I'm like, no, clearly not. You know, but it's good. All these old people are coming up to me wanting to look at my RCs and chat to me, and I guess a lot of them remember it the first time round when they were starting out, when it was literally on a wire. And even seeing stuff like this up and close, you don't really see it. You see it in books on TV, but unless you know someone who's got it, or you're into it, you don't really notice it. And the amount of times I've seen people in cars slow down to have a look when I'm messing about with that, or with my, you know, on my RC cars, it's amazing. Everyone's got a smile in the face, giving a thumbs up. So there you go. That's a little brief sort of look at all my little RC collections. As I said, most are second hand. One of these, this is new. One or two of the others are brand new. Everything else is all second hand. But I'm plodding away slowly, as and when I can. When I get time, I mess about. I don't shoot videos as much as I used to, purely because I need time to do it, and it's only at weekends. But when I can, I do. Finding that editing is a mission. I'm trying to like get really into editing properly now because my videos look crap otherwise. But anyway, there you go. This is Friction RC saying thank you for paying attention. Feel free to message me with any questions, comments, suggestions. And yeah, I shall smell you later. Ciao.